we saw that when we had the Flower Nene matchup, or excuse me, pair, they did perform better. But now here we are. It's going to be Ilios once again. And we are starting it off on Lighthouse Mayhem. They are going to go for that Far Mercy. Mangachu versus Za in the sky.
And this is where Mangachu, if he's on, can be a great comfort zone for him. But Za is also very good at Fair v Fair, so it's hardly anything resembling a free win. It's going to matter how both Pharaohs decide to play. And Mangachu not really giving his counterpart any other look right now. Focusing on the tanks, trying to damage Winston D.Va to create an opportunity for Flower to come in from the side and finish it off. Not too effective here so far, but now the Fair v Fair is underway. Or is it? Mangachu goes, no, actually we're going point. It is a full point focus approach by XL2, and they're out damaging Mayhem right now.
Oh no, more dropping down low. He's getting focused down. Will be able to survive. Kites away at Za that starts it off. Midnight has gotten demeched. Adam for Mikey A. So Za still in the sky. No one really tried to deal with him now. He's onto the point, getting some free damage off Mayhem. I've already flipped it. And so the longer this fight goes on, it's the better for them.
And that was very interesting because there was a point where XL2 had the poke advantage of Mayhem Academy. Mayhem Academy was able to withdraw just a little bit, keep enough people on the point, and then focus fire down Midnight, and that let them change the entire dynamic. XL2 starting in a hole.
Yeah, and Mayhem, they were so close to actually getting more. That might have been a huge pickoff for them. Get rid of some of the sustain on Mayhem Academy and allow them to just burst down the rest of the members now. Mikey A caught out in that angle, had to back away to the rest of his team. He's got this pulse bomb ready, taking the TVT now up against Flower. Flower jumps into the middle, tries to get the D back, but Mangachu.
Za's down. Za's down here early. He has to deny the res. Moving back over. Cloman, though, falls, so it's not a huge advantage, but the barrage on top of Krems gets the mech, immediately trashes it. The Korean military not going to be happy over that one, as Midnight over in the air, looking for targets, under pressure, under fire, 16 HP, gets out of it for now, will get topped right back off, but the problem for XL2 is that while they got a few pickoffs there, they haven't been able to get in the point. They've lost Midnight, which means that they're relying on Clone Man to make space right now, and that hasn't really worked out super well for them historically.
Pulse Bomb forces out the Primal Rage from Mayhem Academy's Moopy. Well, Goliath will res Midnight back into this fight. So now they've got 4 ultimates coming in for this next retake. Clone Man starts it off, more has fallen.
Well, man, coming in strong here early. Midnight off the res, he was able to hunt down Paintbrush, so XL2 finally gets the engage they're looking for. Za, hanging on to the barrage. Do you want to use it here? Well, Mike invests the Pulse Bomb, but probably wishes he didn't. Ends up falling in what is a full-on rout for XL2. And yet, they have no margin for error here, Jamerson. One more lost team fight, and the round goes the way of Mayhem.
Luckily for them, XL2, they do have the ultimate advantage. They're going to have that Valkyrie right now. Mayhem Academy working their way up towards a self-destruct along with a Valkyrie of their own. Za, he's got, you know, his finger over the Q button right now, is waiting for a prime target, try and possibly just get the D-Mech onto Midnight, but instead he's taking this aerial battle up against Mangachu.
And Za gets Chong-tastic, take cover underneath. Mangachu still in hot pursuit over the top, and Za just goes, all right, barrage, and gets one, but ends up dying in the process. Mangachu gets considerably more with his barrage. He's gonna, or Goliath, gonna bring Adam back into the fray, and Mayhem, you gotta let this one go. It is a one fight for XL2.
Yeah, they did force XL2 to use a number of ultimates into that. So the barrage along with the Valkyrie there. So coming into this next fight, Mayhem Academy have so many great tools to work with. A Valkyrie of their own along with more, getting up towards that sound barrier. A lot of damage mitigation. This is what they want for the retake.
Meanwhile, Flower just waiting for the Pulse Bomb to buy XL2. That free team fight coming around the side. Targets out. Does he go for the D.Va? He's waiting. Throws it out late. Nowhere near close to connecting. And XL2 actually in a rough spot here. Mayhem gets a nice engage. They're able to even bring Za back to the fight. Mangachu cut out of the skies. And Mayhem Academy going to be taking this one back. And XL2 is not going to have much time to get back.
And that was just a crucial miscalculation coming out from Flower. If he could have gotten the D-Mech earlier out of Krems, but instead he underestimated how much HP, how much healing he had alive. Now Flower is onto the point, forced to use a recall, stuck in the spa room now. He's getting spammed down, is barely able to get on there, but he gives his life for it. He
had to give his life to get overtime stall here. XL2 was not gonna have a chance at full attempts, but Mangachu, what a boop! Gets Krems out of there early on. Now, if you can get one more other, if Cloman can make a little bit more sprue, oh, let's break it down, it says. Meanwhile, on the point, Za drops the barrage, gets Mangachu, but doesn't prevent the res. XL2 fighting for their lives here. Mangachu unchained. Could XL2 actually bring this fight back? They might have just done it.
They might have just done it indeed. Clone Man with the Primal Rage keeping so many members off the point during that time. He was chasing down more with that, backing him into a corner. And so now it's come down to this final team fight. XL2, they've got the barrage. They've got, of course, that Valkyrie. So it's a huge ultimate advantage. Mayhem coming onto the point. They have no ultimates more. They have no Lucio.
The tanks have to sacrifice themselves 2 versus all. Moopy's gonna get clean through the barrages. Mangachu makes it rain. A tank killing barrage because the tanks had no other choice. And Mangachu now just has to deal with the other Pharah Mercy combo, can be supported by his tanks all the while. And XL2, it's looking like they've brought themselves out of the abyss and then some. Flower looking for the cleanup on the bottom, but it's Mangachu in rare form right now. It's much better Pharah play than last week.
Yeah, at this point, he's doing, both Pharaohs are doing a great job of actually utilizing the low ground and the high ground, the aerial battles, but I like how they move on. They use their concussive blast to push themselves through the point to an opposite end to a clearer angle, but it was Mangachu who had a great barrage there. Now, one of the things was, we did see Za. He, on the second to last fight, used his barrage, got Mangachu down, and then during the rest of the animation of it, he allowed the resurrection to go off back onto Mangachu.
I get that XL2 still wants to make this work. It has been a week. There's a possibility Mangachu has leveled up his Sombra. I would have felt much better if that was a green cyborg ninja, though, rather than what Mangachu is showing right here. But we will see. There's always room for improvement from week to week.
Now, different shades coming out. Za is going to go over to the Roadhog. So triple tank up against this composition. We'll see. Flower, will he have difficulty trying to deal with all these tanky bodies right now? He's on the Widowmaker. There's no one really to contest him because they do have him really far back right now.
I also just think Mayhem Academy didn't really want to take the Widow v Widow battle. Do you put Za versus Flower? Probably not. Do you put Mikey versus Flower when he has super high ping? Again, probably not. The problem is that for a quad tank setup, this is really grouped in. XL2 has so many ways of just working the outskirts and dealing with this. It's not the ideal map for this heavy tank arrangement in most cases. And yet, Mayhem Academy, they get first control, but that should be fading as XL2 is getting all the kills on the outskirts right now.
Yeah, they've had the man advantage. They just allowed them to stay onto the point. Didn't have that finishing power quite yet. Za has fallen, takes a few headshots, getting onto the point. And so, XL2, they will give away about 20-25% here before all is said and done, but they do win out this team fight. They have positioning, they have Flower in the back line. No one really able to pressure him so far.
I don't really like this from Mayhem Academy. I mean, I fully understand why they might not be trying to go Widow v Widow, but this shows weakness, and it's going to bite them on later on maps. Like, what if this goes to Junkertown? Are you not going to run a Widow? I guess, but it's not great. Flower has so much room here. Early EMP out from Mangachu. In a rough spot, gets chunked, able to get away. The EMP has done its duty. Both supports gone. Mayhem Academy no longer with a lifeline, and soon to be no longer with a life, as XL2 is just going to hunt down the survivors with no mercy.
The problem with trying to continue to run this triple tank setup into a Sombra is just the fact that these are tanks that rely very heavily upon their cooldowns. Za, if he ever needs that get out of jail free card, the take a breather, he can't use it with the hacks coming out. There's not enough pressure on even Mangachu. He's even getting so many individual hacks off right now. Mayhem Academy really struggling here.
And again, the bigger issue is sort of, you can't give a Widow this much room either. Flower has not really been contested much at all throughout all of this because they trying to play the sightline battle, and it's not working. They lose Mikey immediately in this battle, and XL2 goes, okay, we got an early pickup. We're gonna barrier and just commit on this. Self-destruct out for Midnight, mostly for the remake, but all the while they control the point, and Mangachu gets caught. Clone gonna use Primal Rage here to try and keep this in progress, and XL2 is still working pretty well in the situation. Mayhem just thrown back.
Yeah, Flower's been under no pressure whatsoever, like you had mentioned. I can't imagine he's taken more than 100 damage so far throughout this entire point. And so now it's coming down to the final fight, possibly 90% for XL2 Academy. Now Mayhem coming into this, they will have the sound barrier, but still, it's gonna be answered in the back. They've got the EMP. He's gotta be careful with the paintbrush.
You Meanwhile, Mangachu with the EMP, as you mentioned, going around, looking for a good chance, almost gets hooked, but drops the EMP, and that might be good enough, but the barrier comes out right after, and yet Mayhem Academy's so out of position here, not even the good vibes of a Lucio can save them, as XL2 just dives in and tears through them one way or another.
Yeah, and it actually missed out on some crucial tanks. I don't believe Za or Moopy caught it there, and those are two crucial tanks you want for that sound barrier. But yeah, Mangachu was able to just shut them down with that EMP.
Yeah, Mangachu says don't call it a comeback tour. he was in fine form tonight. This is more of what we saw from him the first couple weeks of gameplay.
Yeah, his fair play in the first round was excellent. What I am just terrified for Mayhem Academy here is what was brought mid-cast is that, are you really just not going to run a counter Widow? And again, I don't know if they have the personnel to do so, given the players they have, the ping they have versus Flower, but that is conceding so much power in Overwatch, which is what caused them to run that wonky triple tank setup on Ruins, which, again, was basically out-comped from the beginning. It wasn't a good look for them.
Yeah, now, latency has played a huge factor across the boards for all of these teams because, and we've covered this a few times, but like not all of these teams, in fact, I would say the majority of these teams aren't boot camping right now. They're not all playing in the same, on the same connection. They're not all playing in the same servers. They're kind of having to go back and forth and do the best they can, which is we see a lot of paused games. We see a lot of dropped games, dropped players. How much is latency affecting the outcome of this, where once that's taken away and we have the LAN connection for the finals, where do you see these teams kind of popping off that haven't been able to yet?
Well, both these teams are uniquely affected, and it is a server battle to a degree, because to give some insight into this, XL2 is very public saying, we can't run Nene on East Coast servers because he's playing from Korea, his ping is going to be too high. The issue for Mayhem Academy, though, is that running Mikey on West Coast is really difficult, and that's the only thing they can do. So, I mean, basic geography, going from the UK to a California server is very tough. So the unique nature of NA Contenders, where you do have players that are playing outside the region, does make the server game a bigger deal.
Now, it looks like Mangachu and Flower managed to find their rhythm a little bit more in this game.
A little bit more, but I just feel like at this point, it's Flower being able to do whatever he wants. No one should ever give a Widowmaker that much space, especially on Ruins, when you have a D.Va and a Winston. There is no excuse for that whatsoever, and Flower was just able to stay on whatever perch he took and was not pressured whatsoever.
All right, well, we are going to Numbani next, and given the play style of both of these teams, how do you guys see this map shaking out? What do you want to see?
Well, given the fact that it will probably be on a East server, we will probably still see Mangachu in. We won't be seeing Nene in until XL2 drops a map, is my guess on this. So on the offense for XL2, I think they open up with the Pharah. Why not? Especially after the performance just a moment ago.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree there. Here, I want to see Mayhem Academy go for that dive once again. I want to see Za more on the Genji because he has had actually great performances with it, and I think they should rely upon that. And Numbani is just one of those maps where it lends itself well to Genji play.
Alrighty, well, let's check and see where things go. We're heading into Numbani, XL2 versus Mayhem Academy. XL2 is currently up 1-0.
We're in game. The first 15 seconds have elapsed, and Mayhem Academy looking for their way through, where, again, they need to give credits to the Junkrat. You don't want to go up a closed-in area and give Mangachu everything he wants, but now they dive in. It's Za in the skies, well protected, looking for Cloman. Cloman eats a whole boatload of damage, has to back out, but while he's out of the fight, Midnight was able to get Paintbrush, so XL2 has a path to come back in. Flower finally gets fourth time's the charm, I suppose. But now, room to work with. Winston on his back, but he's able to get away for a period of time. Still under pressure, and yet XL2 feeling pretty good.
Yeah, XL2 played that out well. Now, Mayhem Academy also tried to adjust to it, right? They saw the Widowmaker, so they went straight on to the point and were able to secure themselves at least a tick, but finally, Flower was just like, nope, I'm just going to go ahead and grapple in and just start headshotting everybody. Just what you have to worry about. So now Za has swapped up. They're going to go full dive. They want to just make sure that they apply pressure onto Flower, but in diving in, you have to be careful. Mangachu, he can set up the trap. He can just set out all his concussion mines. Going into this dive, this is not a standard hold coming out from XL2 on their defense.
Well, the key here is that when you have this Widowmaker Junkrat setup, the Widow can be way far back, and if you try and rush in, the Junkrat ambushes you from the top. His Paintbrush, look, he got caught again. Now you're down to Mercy early on. What are you going to do? Well, the answer is you're probably not going to do too much. Poopy, without a hope and a prayer, jumps up and gets put down. XL2, 2 minutes about to be burned off the clock, and they're in a great position.
They burned so much time without much actually coming back. More swapping off from the Moira. Even though it was about 2 minutes, he was only sitting on about 80, maybe 90% ultimate charge, so they're giving that up completely. And now going into this next push, they will have, of course, the damage boost orb, but I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Likely not. I mean, the number one thing here is fire in the hole. Look, here's a tire. What does a tire do? It staggers you. Tire, beat Tracer. Tracer beat tire. Did he just blink off the edge? I think so. Making sure he wasn't going to go
back,
hunting.
yeah.
And, oh, he's not able to finish off Krems. Krems is going to get healed back up. That ends up getting Paintbrush Valkyrie for this next fight. A nice turnaround here from him. And Paintbrush goes, he opens with it. Early Valkyrie. Moopy's dead early. Can he res him back up, though, in this situation? Paintbrush, I don't think felt safe about doing so.
No, they have too many bodies on the defense. Camping it right now. Ooh, more. Sorry, buddy, but you were sticking out there. He will fall. It's Mikey A. will drop to that concussion mine. And so now this awkward, new, different defense, I would say, coming out from XL2, really giving Mayhem Academy a lot of pause here. They're still trying to figure out how to break this. Now the thing is, they're down to a minute. They still don't have a blade. They still don't have the Transcendence. This is going to be a rough push.
Well, again, it's the great Widowmaker Junkrat dilemma. You dive the Widowmaker, Junkrat ends up flanking you. Usually. Right now they're together. Usually the Widow's a little bit further back. Otherwise, if you get on the Junkrat, you give the Widow free reign, so you have to choose who are you afraid of more. XL2 has just about everything up for this fight, just missing the Tire and the Valkyrie. Mikey back, sticks, gets Flower out of the fight early. He's going to get Goliath as well. What a play by Mikey. Can't undo all of that. Adam.
Yeah, so Mikey A, he will open it up for his team. Self-destruct out from Krems just to zone them all out, but there's the second tick being secured by Mayhem Academy, and with no opposition, there's a third. They secure point A. In the nick of time, they'll push forward. Now, they'll be coming up on that Blade Transcendence for this next fight, but you try and get Goliath's Transcendence out, really get some mileage off of it.
The problem that you have with your Mayhem Academy here is that you just burned a lot of your Nambani time bank to take first. You don't get that much extra time for going in on third, and you need that extra time. And XL2 on the defense here, they're going to stagger things out a little bit more. You're going to have the Tyrant from Mangachu. If it even gets one, it makes things so much worse, and it does! Moopy just eats the Tire, and the Tire explodes him to bits.
Yeah, Cloneman's been playing very aggressive with this Winston so far here on the defense, and that's just to really open up the map for Flower and Mangachu now. Take a look, Flower with the power position, he's got the damage boost, but hasn't been able to connect those shots. So now he'll just back away now, play the sights game, play the range game.
You should not be having this much trouble getting through second. XL2 is playing this really well, but this is a point where a team generally on offense should be able to overpower in the end. It's not great defensive terrain. Mayhem Academy, they begin their assault. They have the Valkyrie up, Paintbrush supporting in the top, but they lose more immediately. Now you have to go, can we come back and res him? The answer is probably. Paintbrush should have enough room there. He's just going to get the res. Mangachu, though, all the while is building up the Tire, and he's just going to drop it immediately. Adam with the Valkyrie supporting. Tire doesn't get much, but it's Flower in the back who's uncontested during all of this. You're diving, you're not looking at the Widow, and XL2 is outflanking you.
Yeah, Moopy just uses that Primal Rage to try and buy space for Paintbrush just to get that res off, but it's not enough. Adam brings Goliath back into this now, and so XL2, they start pushing forward. Mayhem Academy falling all the way back to their spawn. Oh no, Paintbrush, you need to go all the way back to your spawn. Oh, those are staggers that should not have gone through.
And Cloman giving up his life for that, assisted by Midnight, but it works out. It staggers Mayhem even more, and Mayhem gonna be down to one of their final attempts for point B on Nambani, a place where teams usually are not held.
45 seconds left. Za still has this blade, but Goliath still has his Transcendence. And so, we can see two ultimates just fizzling here. It's gonna come down to Mikey A again, possibly. He's almost got that pulse bomb. He was able to open up point A for them. We'll see if he can get point B.
We'll see how strong Mikey's back is here, but Za, nope. Oh, nope, his back's broken. It's just broken. Like Batman getting broken by Bane. Flower shoots Mikey in the head. 2, now 3 kills. Even Goliath gets into the fray. Some redemption for him, and suddenly the series is looking rather one-sided.
Rather one-sided already. They are up one map now, but Mayhem Academy doesn't look like they're going to be able to get anyone on the point. Moopy just taking so much damage. They are going to get Mikey A there as overtime ticks away. Last Zoom Yada coming in, but more will not be able to make it. He's answered by Goliath, who tries to body block him too. And now XL2 looking completely different form than they were last week.
I don't really know what Mayhem was doing in terms of their offense there. Usually there's a rhyme or a reason. The most I can say is that clearly Flower was a huge threat in the back and Mangachu was a threat in the front, and they were never able to isolate both at the same time. But that second point, Nambani, if you go back and look at Nambani videos through time, it is super rare for a team to get held there. It requires the offense of the other team to be playing below average, and it requires the defense to be playing way above average. And okay, we just got that mix there, but this is a bad omen for Mayhem going forward, especially where, again, they don't seem to be really dealing with Widowmaker all that well right now, nor do they have the option to run a Widow themselves.
Yeah, and I think it might really just come down to that no one is able to really try and challenge Flower on that Widowmaker. No one can really play it for Mayhem Academy because they rely upon Mikey A playing that Tracer, and now Za, he does play some hit scan. He's going to go for the Soldier 76 for this defense here. Let's see what XL2 Academy have in store for us right now, but they're looking pretty crisp so far in this series, and we're only 2 maps in. But Flower and Mangachu looking like a much more stable duo now than they did last week.
Adam, I don't believe you. You are not Gray, good sir. You do not enjoy this heavy DPS setup where you're not running an extra support. You're going to go back to a support here in just this moment. And it is almost certainly going to be a mercy because Mangachu needs a buddy. You're not, it's not even like the Cruz here. It's like, Cruz, I believe in you. It's like, Adam, you're a great support, but you're not known for DPS.
We've seen you do this before. No, we have not, Adam. So he is going over to the Mercy now. Mangachu on the Pharah. Flower will be on the McCree. So we'll see if he can find the right positioning. It's going to be difficult to deal with it because he doesn't have a Lucio to speed him. He's going to really be reliant upon that flashbang to keep himself alive. Concussive blast to try and get them off the high ground, but they weren't able to force Za off.
XL2, time on their side. If they can get through point A, their job will be rather easy.
Oh no.
No, Moopy got caught out, so far out, and now XL2, they work with the tank advantage. Mayhem has very few ways of getting back in, especially if Krems gets demeched here. The poke from Mangachu, vicious on the outskirts. 2 easy ticks here so far. Mayhem, do you come back in? Do you challenge it one more time? Do you go for this? And they're going for it, but this is going to be one quickly demech Diva.
Yeah, it's the singular focus coming up from Mangachu. He's actually just been landing these rockets over and again on to Krems. They get the DMAC. Now, Flower will fall. Moopy was able to get up there, but it's still Mangachu just going largely uncontested, getting so much damage off now. That's 2 ticks. There's a tactical visor, but he's stuck inside the closet. Gets taken out. Justice will rain from above, but they've only got the Mercy along with the Diva here. With the DMAC, Krems will fall. That's XL2 taking point A. 5 minutes now just to finish this out to get the second map.
Look, the glorious feel in the morning where it's like, I got you in my sights, but I'm not going to look up.
They're doing this! Mangachu!
Oh dear. This is disrespect!
This is Team Canada! This is Team Canada! They ran this before!
Mangachu, you might not have your doctorate yet, but man, you are trying. Oh dear, picking up the scrap. XL2, this is how you can tell there's a little bit of fire involved here. They don't have far to go, so this could actually work.
This is a practice strat. This is a practice strat. Mangachu's ran this before. He loves the Torbjorn. He loves these off picks now. Diving in, Pulse Bomb comes out. They will get the turret, but that's it.
All right, you got the turret. Well, you got the Theresa. Flower flanking just so far out. This is the Harbloom McCree version, if there ever was one. Just flanking the other team all in your lonesome, but now getting checked by Tracer. Flashbang! Got him! Mikey challenged it and ended up paying the price. Flower still alive on the outskirts. Mangachu tossing out Armor on the point. Oh no, 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 no. No respect for human life. No! Oh my God. Mangachu, please. These people have families. Oh dear.
There we go. Adam's gonna finish it off. Krems falls in the end. And with that, XL2 now take the lead 2-0, sitting on match point.
Mangachu is just delightful. I'm sorry. That was great.
Yes, not only do they lose the map, they also lose their bits of pride shattered across Numbani.
Yeah.
In the process. Oh,
That's a
dear.
practice thing, though. Mangachu has done this in the past before. Like I had mentioned, World Cup, they have run that Torbjorn here on Numbani, that swap off. So,
Okay. Well, even if it makes sense as a pick, even if we're going to entertain the ideas like, yes, this was a good sound pick. Please, if we could just listen into Mayhem's communications right now, I guarantee you they're like, oh, yeah, that was a good pick. It's like, oh, good Lord, we just lost to this. There's no way they're happy in this situation.
I mean, a lot of that, though, the onus is kind of on Mayhem. They left the Widowmaker, they left Flowers Widowmaker completely unchecked for both maps. I mean, you saw it on Ilias, you saw it on Numbani. They gave him every sightline that he could ever want, and it was just kind of nonstop. Even if he wasn't getting the kills, he was chunking down the tanks to the point where they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you have to respect Flower, pure and simple, and the attitude of, well, we don't feel great in our Widowmaker, so we're not really going to go after Flower. Bad news, guys. Probably not going to work. Even if Flower was a little bit off his game last week, he's looking better this week. He's still a very good player. It's just a tough across the board for Mayhem right now.
We're getting back to shades of World Cup Flower, where he's taunting the enemy, the opposing teams with, practice hard for me before we get into this match. So he's looking really confident right now.
We do have some playback. This is Mangachu. Unfortunately, it is not Mangachu's Torbjorn.
I don't want to see it.
We have,
delete the footage.
This power play was great
anymore.
This power play was great because he was focusing down Krems for the most part, and the damage boosted rockets. Remember, it one-shot the Tracer, so it does more than 150 damage if it direct hits. And so the Diva, after about 2 rockets, he's forced to just run away.
The reason why you need to see the Torbjorn clip is that we just need to juxtapose it with the old Simpsons clip where it's like, and you can pinpoint the moment where his heart breaks. It's like you can pinpoint the moment where the Mayhem soul just breaks.
Mangachu says, I choose you, Torbjorn, and then ZP loses it.
Goodness me.
I really do like that Torbjorn pick there because of the respawn distances and because, well, they are just really up against it. They need to get onto the point. They're not able to make the, of course, transitions into different hero compositions to try and deal with it. To deal with it, a lot of teams just try and run a full dive, right? They send the Genji, they send the Tracer, and everything over. We saw Mikey A having to commit a pulse bomb just to try and shut that down. And it wasn't enough.
And here's the thing that's even more troubling as we look in the map 3 is let's not forget the server metagame here where one team is relying on a player across the pond in the UK and the other one is relying on a player in South Korea, which means that if the Mayhem are going to bring this back, they're going to have to do it winning on West Coast servers where Mikey will be challenged even more.
All right, well, let's see if that's the case. We're going to take a quick break, go to commercial, but when we come back, we're going to be right in the middle of this matchup. Hopefully, Mayhem can turn this back around and see if they can at least keep from being swept and get up on the map board. I am rooting. I mean, I always root for the underdog, right? That's my thing. So hang out, stick around. We'll see you in a minute.